You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me on another edition of Inside Automotive right here at the CBT Automotive Network. We are joined by Mr. John Fitzpatrick, who is the CEO of Force Marketing. You've seen him here before on CBT News. John, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. It's always great catching up, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And but really, you are your company, and you're just like always going. You guys are on fire. You've just landed some huge deals, which we may talk about today. But you guys handle some 1,500 rooftops now?
Yeah, about that. Yeah,
wow,
that's right.
That's
and
incredible.
14 OEM partnerstions.
Wow,
through,
congratulations.
Through the certified program.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's fantastic. It's
great.
That's a big part of the business.
It is.
So let's talk about, here we are, going into or really we're into the last quarter of 2025. Every dealer out there trying to figure out how do we finish the year strong. I know the EVs 12% last month, which really kind of gave everybody a jolt, no pun intended. But that was a good thing, and I think it opened a lot of people's eyes as to the fact that people may want EVs, even though we know the $7,500 has gone away since September 30th. But so there's a lot to talk about, a lot to catch up on. But what are you asking your clients and telling your clients to focus on as we go into the last 3 months of 2025?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's rooted in the brilliance is in the basics. We're kind of there in many ways in auto. Again, with all the uncertainties, the tariffs, the different inventory levels, the customer buying habits, whether or not they can afford. Affordability is still a major topic.
It is, no question.
In all of our ads, we're really trying to promote price and incentives as helping them drive down the affordability topic, because that's definitely in the hearts and minds of customers, which goes hand in hand with customer retention. So, having a strong fixed ops department, making sure that every customer that comes in that maybe doesn't buy because maybe they don't think that they can afford, well, let's fix up the car that they're in and keep that business at the dealership. It's so important for dealers to make sure that they've got a fine-tuned, customer life cycle management process. Oftentimes what we have found is that the OEM programs are great, but there's a lot of holes in them. They're not really going after everybody that the dealer should be going after to bring them back in service.
So what do you mean by that?
There's a big opportunity there. So I'll give you an example. So there's a lot of the programs don't go after the off-brand vehicles that you sold. Right. So let's say you're a Toyota dealer, right? But you sold a Kia at your used car lot, right? Well, do you want to service that Kia?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And we know that if we do service that Kia, we're 7 times more likely to buy a Toyota the next time that Kia driver wants the next car, right? And so of course we want that business. These programs, again, while great, we're not telling them to turn them off, there's just a lot of holes of opportunity. There's the customer pay versus warranty pay conversation. We know the customer pay is a lot more profitable for the dealer, right? We want to focus on that. If we're going to put a unit up and take time in the service bay, don't we want that to be the most profitable unit? Don't we want it to be the one that helps us hit our president's goals and achieve all of our metrics so that we're in great standing with the OEM? Of course we do. And so our product sort of wraps around that OEM product so that there's nothing falling through the cracks when it comes to retention. It's a very, very important piece of their marketing. We know the trade-in quality can be significant if done right. You've preached that for years on the service side of the business, and so now you've got an inventory component. That absolutely leads a lot of our discussions because even the dealers that believe that, hey, look, we have dealers writing 300 ROs a day. 56 bays, right?
Nice.
They have opportunities, right? When you're putting, high volume units in operation, you have to be even better on the retention side. And so whether you're a small dealer and you're not pumping out the volume, very much so that you need, your absorption rate to be high and your service department to be running strong. But the big dealers do too. And when we look at brand loyalty, what we're seeing is that not only has brand loyalty been on a decline, it's kind of steadied out at like 50%, right? But you're seeing dealer loyalty is below that. And so there's an opportunity for the dealer to make sure that they're keeping their customers loyal. And then as these dealer groups have gotten bigger and bigger, I want them loyal to my family of brands. I no longer offer 5 different, OEM, nameplates. I've got 35.
Right.
You know how many stores have gone from 5 to 20 stores in the last 5 years.
Right. You got something for everyone in the family.
That's right. And so we want to keep all of them. So that's really utilizing the first party data, understanding where the customer is, meeting them where they are, having a personal communication with them that recognizes we know you're driving a Toyota because we sold it to you, but we also know that you're looking for a BMW right now. By the way, we have a BMW store.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case 7 years ago when you bought that Toyota.
That's right.
That sort of conversation, using data across different dealership platforms, very, very important. So these are the kind of conversations we're having right now. It's really fun too. But if I had to put it into one category for Q4, it would absolutely be customer retention.
Okay. From the looks of my mailbox when I go to it every day, local dealers are still challenged in the data that they've got and how to manage it and keep it clean, right? Because I'm getting, offers from my BMW dealership that I purchased the vehicle from 8 years ago, sold the car 4 years ago, and they're asking if I would like to come in and have my, my BMW serviced. Haven't owned a BMW in 4 years, okay? So things like that still exist.
Big time. It's a major problem.
It really is.
We've got a dirty data problem in auto, and then on top of that, we have way too many vendors with their hands inside of the first party data.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a major problem.
That's right.
In fact, so much so, if I look at our 2 of our bigger wins, and a lot of these groups don't really like to share, these RFP process. So I'll leave the nameplates out, but we've got a 60+ store group that we just brought on, and a 35+ group. So about 100 stores in 2 groups. And the commonality of those 2 groups coming aboard to us was we need to limit our vendors. We need to limit the amount of people that have their hands in the data cookie jar, if you will. And we've strategically partnered up with folks that do a really good job in data management, that are connected in terms of the data pipes to our Audience IQ customer data platform, that we can use their data and first and foremost clean it, and then make sure we're driving personalization in all these communication touch points that we're having with them. And that no one else, or at least we're policing very strongly who else is putting those proverbial hands in the cookie jar. Right. But because that's a big problem. There's too many vendors firing off messages in all of these different categories.
Right. But isn't it needed? Like if in the event I'm a dealer, I've got vendors in there, aren't they in there for a purpose or a reason? Or are you saying that there's vendors in there that have no business even really being in there?
I believe that there are vendors in there that have no business being in there. I believe also that there are vendors that can do a lot of those things, right? So it's almost like pick a winner and see how much they can do. Right. Rather than 5 different marketing companies, one just handles my email, one handles my conquest email. Right. Okay, so just an email right there. Yeah. You got 2 different vendors. I mean, right? Then you've got the OEM that's going to say, well, we'll take care of your, a segment of the, there's just so much opportunity to create a better customer experience, like you just said.
Or to screw it up.
Yeah, and then think about the ad waste.
Yeah.
Think about the ad waste.
I was thinking the same thing every time I open up an envelope.
Right.
Not only am I, upset that I'm still getting this, and it's like these guys don't know me, although they're probably patting themselves on the back to say we know all of our customers and we're reaching out to them while you're not. But also the money involved. That's right. In the printing and the postage.
We still have at Force the same 2 things we started with almost 2 decades ago, which was, can we help dealers decrease their advertising expense as one of their 3 biggest expenses, right? You've always preached this. They've got people, inventory, and marketing. Well, can we help them drive down their marketing by being more efficient? Yeah. We could 20 years ago. We definitely can now. Right? And then the second one, that if we do that and we drive a more personalized conversation with all of the folks inside of their database, will that create a better customer experience? Of course it will. Yeah. And so those 2 things are still driving all of our innovation, everything that we're doing, all of our dealership conversations. And we sit down with our dealer groups and look at them and say, look, we've got this vendor over here, they're doing a very unique thing. There are times you say, you know what? Keep them focused on that particular area of the business. They're doing a really good job. The return on ad spend is fantastic. Right. Oftentimes, though, you see that there are just far too many vendors. And what dealer groups particularly have found themselves doing, they're not managing their marketing or ad expense. They're managing their vendors. Yeah. Because that's become a task in and of itself.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So as I look forward and as I look for our business, how do we continue to drive value into the auto space? It's helping dealers shrink the world, right? And also have a better customer experience, as a benefactor of being more strategic, more aligned with your data, less vendors that are operating.
Is this the byproduct of different management teams coming into dealerships? Obviously, we still suffer from a big turnover in the industry, and I, as a GM, come in, take over. I got my guy for this. I got my guy for that. I got this company I've worked with in the past. Let them come in. Meanwhile, the last generation of companies that the last general manager brought to the table, or maybe even the dealer principal, maybe the store was sold. So now you've got kind of this quilt effect of all of these different vendors. Sometimes the dealer doesn't even know about all of the vendors that that store has.
That's correct.
If I'm a dealer and I have 25 stores, it's almost impossible for me to know intimately what's going on on that level with 25 rooftops.
That's right.
So they're counting on 25 different GMs,
and they want them to be held accountable to their P&L, right?
That's right.
Drive your profitability. Here's the other thing: the consolidation, the M&A activity. Right. You buy a store, it's not going to be top on the list to say, let's have them migrate to our DMS system and our CRM system and all of our different, ad packages and everything like that. And so that gets put off while they're running the store, and that's an issue. The certifications, right? Every OEM has got a list, a short list, right? Maybe 10 vendors, 15 vendors on there, right? Well, those are not all the same across the manufacturers.
That's right.
Look, there's, I think there's 25 programs out there, maybe 22 programs. We're on 14 of them. Right? We're not on all of them. There's very few vendors, if any, at this point, that are on every single one. So then that creates a little bit of a problem, right? Because if you're very focused on being on program and having your co-op seamless, you might think about things a certain way. So there's reasons why. But what we're finding is the most sophisticated dealers that are like, all right, no more noise. We got to shrink the world. Who can handle the data first and foremost the most effectively? Because that is the most important thing. What you just described of stop sending messages to my physical mailbox or my virtual mailbox on a unit that I sold back to you 3 years ago. Stop doing that. It's very, very frustrating. And every time you do it, you're just lower that you're ever going to earn my business.
That's right. And it always starts out by saying, as a valued customer of ours, you know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, well, actually, I'm not that valued because...
And that's what everybody thinks, right? And so that the data component, understanding how to use it, understanding how to operate in an omni-channel world where the customer is so fluid. I just had a great conversation with the folks over at TikTok. They finally figuring some things out in their platform for scalability. We're excited about where that could go. The folks at Amazon are doing some incredible things. Watch out, Amazon. Here's another, huge category for them to figure out a way to dominate. Right. And then just there's so many other vendors, right? Connected TV continues to be a great place to put your ad dollars. Dealers for years have grown their businesses on sight, sound, and motion, right? With jingles and on every single, programming in a hyper-local marketplace. CTV brings an incredible opportunity to connect with customers that are shopping on their, on all the devices in their household. There's just so many very strategic, data-driven ways to reach the customer as you're sort of setting up your dealer group for not only a strong close in Q4, but what does 26 look like, 27? Maybe you're aggressive, you're buying stores, you want to think about this thing. We'd love an opportunity, or folks like us, and there are a few out there that have a customer data platform, that have stayed vertical specific, that are really dedicated in driving a better customer experience. But I will say one of the things that continues to be a differentiator for us particularly is our knowledge and our expertise on the service side of the business, on the fixed op side, and having one conversation with the customer, not two, not one on the variable side and one on the fixed side. That's got to be one conversation. The dealer knows it as, the customer knows it as one. It should always be one. And so that's a big opportunity.
It's funny. I'm going back, I guess, almost 5 years now that you sat here at CBT News announcing the acquisition of GSM Gulf States Marketing, which was a big deal, and I think you guys just hit the gas pedal ever since that point with marketing for fixed ops departments, right?
That's exactly right. We knew we had to build or buy a fixed ops product. So when that opportunity came about from the Friedkin family, the reason we jumped all over it is, again, it was already on our roadmap. We got to build this thing, and we felt like we were
perfect fit.
I think we just felt like we were too far behind. And here's an opportunity to buy a tech stack that created Toyota Care, right? So huge opportunity for us. To your point, we've not even looked back for a second. Most of our clients are on some level of that product. We're winning deals because of that product. We're winning RFP opportunities on the variable ops side that didn't even have fixed ops in the conversation in the RFP. But we're winning the RFP because we have that as hey, there's more value we can bring to the table. Our number one focus is how much value can we bring to these dealer groups. we're not just an agency or a tech partner. We want to really help drive value, drive meaningful business decisions, and that's what we've stayed true to.
That's great. That's great. This is kind of a side question here, and I don't know that you know or would really have too much data on it. But I interview so many fixed ops directors that are now into mobile service, as you know. Some have got 40 and 50 trucks on the road. It's been just an incredible thing. Ford, as you know, has gotten behind mobile service. Has that changed anything with regard to the marketing of a dealer that has made a commitment in the area of mobile service? And what is your take on that?
Yeah, not yet, and it should.
Okay.
Right? I mean, to me, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Why would I go to the dealership? By the way, I think it's a differdifferentiator too, right?
I do too.
If Jiffy Lube's still in the business, but ABC Toyota in where you bought the car from is going to say, I'm going to come to your car or your house and service it, or your work and service it. Isn't that a key differentiator for customer loyalty at the dealer level?
Which, by the way, we got to be careful because I think there is an ABC Toyota.
Is there an ABC? So we just like
I was told that one time because I often use
Anytown. It's probably Anytown too. Anytown Toyota.
Anytown Toyota, right?
No, but a good friend of mine, Amidst, is running Kirby. They're doing a great job in this area. They've got most of the GM business, if not all of the GM business. They're pushing it in a really big way.
That's great.
And I had a conversation with him recently. It's like, there's dealers jumping aboard on this left and right. There's still some hesitancy.
Yeah. I know him, He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's running a good company, but I think it's just been a little slow. But that doesn't mean that that's not where the train's headed.
Right.
So it's just
it would be a differentiator for me in buying the car.
For sure.
In other words, if I'm going to a Ford store, they have got mobile service, and either if I go to another Ford store and they said, we haven't done that yet, I'm going back to the first store. Or even if I go to another brand, I go to Chevy and they say, we don't do mobile service. That's a huge advantage that dealership's got. Not to mention how bad is it to have that mobile service truck pull up to a neighborhood
with the branding element on it.
Exactly, where people are going, they're coming out to service your vehicle? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got now the attention of all of those neighbors thinking, how come we don't have this?
For sure. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's interesting. I would think that we'll probably see that more incorporated into the marketing of the dealership, right?
It should be. If they have it, you should be talking about it, right? There should be some version of, we always talked about the customer bill of rights kind of thing, where it's like, if you buy from this group, these are things you can expect.
That's right.
Right? And they're differentiators from anywhere else that you might buy. That would be a big one.
Yeah.
Right? And so leaning into it, into the messaging, when you're trying to get that, that 2% of the market to sway your way, that's a great one.
That's right. I've spoken to a number of GMs that have said, over the years, because marketing has gotten so sophisticated. I come from the days that we had a full page ad and we had a great TV spot and a radio spot. Maybe we even had
Life was so simple back then.
Maybe we even had a radio remote, and you old timers know what I'm talking about, at the dealership on Saturday. But things have changed substantially. And you can hold your emails, I get it. But nevertheless, it seems as though you almost need somebody now, as GMs have told me, on the payroll, in the dealership, working with the vendors, because we're car guys, we're car gals. We don't know all of these different levels of marketing and all of these things that obviously and the other marketing companies know and the experts know. We're not experts in marketing, right? However, we are commissioned as general managers and managers of stores to almost be experts and know what to ask of our vendors and what not to ask and what to expect of them and who's doing what. And then to your point, you've got so many people, with their hands making in the soup, so to speak. Or so many chefs in the kitchen that you're like, well, I don't know how to manage that. You have any recommendations for dealers that go, when it comes to my marketing, I've got so many different people.
Look, I think there's a reason why there's economies of scale. There's a reason why all of the publics and all of the major groups have full in-house marketing teams.
Right, to work with
They
those.
might not actually be pulling the levers, but to your point, they are managing the vendors, and they're doing a good job at it, right? And they're really analytical. They're great to work with. And that's where we can really help. I think there's a reason why most of our 1,500 dealers come. There's a parent company organization, and they're part of a 30-store group or even a 100-store group, is because they've got those team of marketing folks that take it off the GM's plate, even the service manager's plate, to some degree. and say, hey, we're going to manage this partner, and then report back to you on the things you need to know, and you report back to us, and that is absolutely very, very helpful in the process. It creates speed.
Yeah. The average dealer, I think today they say, owns 2 dealerships. They're not the big conglomerates, although they get all the fanfare and what have you. But the average dealer out there owns 2 dealerships. They don't.
If you got 2 dealerships, you should have at least one person that's managing the market.
That's handling one
for sure.
That's
reporting to the 2
and then the
GMs
one person has got to be very well versed on all of these different vendors that are out there. It's not just a question of sending the logo over anymore. I mean, it's really they got to be dialed in with everything that's going on.
They do. Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. So if I'm a dealer and I say, John, we want to close 2025 strong, and you've mentioned a few of them already today, but what are the 1 or 2 things that I really need to be laser focused on to get the dollars, to get the units too over the curb? You touched on fixed ops. That's obviously going to help
it's
my
going
bottom
to be
line.
make sure that's dialed in. So that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be make sure you have an affordability message in all of your marketing. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
that resonates with
that
consumers.
resonates, right? So how much lease penetration do you have is going to be an important metric to look at, right? We know that the lease buyer in an affordability driven marketplace, they're going to lean into that, okay? Because it's oftentimes less expensive on a lease than on a purchase,
right?
And so maybe you got to drum some of that lease conversation back up, both on your site but in your messaging.
Yeah.
And then third, I would just make sure that you really take a hard look. Q4 is a great time to do it. In not just, I love bringing this up. Bring up your even if it's an Excel spreadsheet of all the money going out in advertising and marketing. First, notice how long that is and how many different line items there are. Then the second thing is if you look month over month over month, just like the same 3 months, was your Google ad spend the exact same? Meta, the exact same? Dealer.com, whatever. Maybe that's going to be the same because it's your website or something.
Sure.
Your third-party leads, right? Are they all the exact same? And then ask yourself, was the marketplace the exact same, or will it be, you think, in October as it was in June?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, it's a different marketplace and there's different dynamics.
Yeah.
Well, then why is the spend the exact same?
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you follow?
Yeah, of course.
Where I'm going there?
You can't just set it and forget it.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
How could it just be 10 grand a month in Google?
Right.
That's just it. That's just what we spend.
Right.
Well, Google is based on intent. People going in, typing in, I'm interested in something. That fluctuates.
Yeah, it's dynamic.
It's a dynamic. It's a moving number. It should be a variable. By the way, they should all be variable.
Right.
Based on the data points brought back to say, what does our marketplace look like?
Sure.
You show me someone that's got a changing number. Just take the spreadsheet. The first thing I look is, oh, those are changing numbers. They're doing something, right? That tells me right off the bat they're doing something that the next guy is not.
Right.
And that's where you could start that process. Once you go down this rabbit hole, you will start to realize where your ROAS, return on ad spend, really is.
Right.
And Brian Pash does a good job at highlighting this in our space.
Yeah.
He's got an event coming up. Eric Mercado, one of our VPs, is speaking at it down in Palm Beach area.
He does
in
a
November.
great job. Unbelievable.
And he's really focused on all of these metrics and bringing attention to them.
Yeah.
I think we're actually down there talking about on the fixed ops side, actually. So if that's something that resonates with you, and if not, you can't make it down there, I would tap us, because we can stay focused in one key area and then grow the group. That's one of the things that we've built in our family of brands. We've got We Drive Automotive, we've got Force Marketing, and we've got Gulf States Marketing, known as GSM. Any of those doors you can walk into for a very specific reason on how we can help your dealer group. And then once you're inside the house, if you need the other tools in the toolbox, great, they're there for you. And if you don't, that's okay too. We're going to do what you need us to do. We'll constantly show you areas of opportunity, and we will test you, right, to say, hey, you got to understand this is an opportunity here, right? But if you tell us, hey, there's not spend for that, or we don't believe in that, that's fine too.
Right.
It's still our job to showcase you in a proactive way.
Right.
It's another topic. There's all too often just too many partners that are just, what do you want to do this month? Sitting back. And they just get very, very frustrated with that.
That's right.
That should not be the case. It should be, here's what the data says you should do this month.
Right.
You want to do it or not?
Right.
And if not, what part of the strategy do you like and what part of the strategy do you not like? Right. This is what we see.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And that should be in advance of the month, by the way, not on the 5th of the month. You're already in.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's a lot of opportunities there. That's what I would be looking at. Long answer to your question on the 1, 2, 3, but this is the time to be looking at your partners, and are they the right partners for 2026?
I was just going to say, lining those guys up.
Lining
them up for great. John Fitzpatrick, President and CEO of Force Marketing. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks.
It's always great. It's always great seeing you.
Yeah.
So yeah, special treat for me.
It's fun.
All right, take care.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.